Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you how we native speakers learn about Mandarin. So if you want to learn Mandarin, maybe you can apply some steps or some process when you're learning. And I will also provide some tricks help you to learn much better. So I break down the whole subject Mandarin into 3 categories. They are vocabulary, writing, and the classical Chinese. So the first step, as in any language you're about to learn, is to learn about the vocabulary. And in Mandarin in particular, you will be first learning about pinyin. So at the first semester of the first year in primary school, we're taught to memorizing all the pinyin letters, and we'll read and memorizing them almost all the semester. And later, we'll turn to the characters from the pinyin. So here comes the trick number 1, using a dictionary. In my time, we were trained to use a dictionary when we bump into some character that we don't know. We are taught to use a dictionary to look it up. And I learned that nowadays, because of the smartphones and even smartwatches, the kids nowadays don't use the dictionary as often. But I gotta say this, by using a dictionary often will help you remember all the pinyin and the characters. I master pinyin by using a dictionary. Through looking to a dictionary that often, you will develop a hinge to the characters you never met before. I will bump into some characters I don't know, but I use a dictionary often enough, I will have a feeling that this character should be pronounced as something. So I will look it up and really fast. Little fun story. The first exam I took in Mandarin Chinese, that time I was so obsessed with dictionaries. So I used the dictionary the whole time. And then later on, I was acknowledged that counts to cheating. That's the first time I realized what an exam or task is. So the pinyin is the fundamental of the pronunciation in Mandarin. You can read any word, any characters through pinyin. The textbook we use in primary school, the first 2 years I think, they are all pinyin illustrated to help us to read, to learn new characters. That period of time, we learned most of the characters we use in daily life. Although we learn new characters throughout even in high school, but we learn most of them just in these first 2 to 3 years. So if you want to learn about other characters, I would recommend you to learn about pinyin and get yourself a dictionary. Read some books and look them up. You will be developing a really good hinge about what this word or this character may sound like, and you will have some memories about how they look, how to write it, because you look it up, it will strengthen your memory. So if you want to know what dictionary I was using, it's a really little handbook, the 新华字典. I will leave a link down below if you want to get yourself one. So the next part, writing. We started writing almost instantly after we learned about pinyin. And that's because we live in an environment that everybody speaks Mandarin. So we know the sentences, how they are constructed. We write sentences before we knew every character in the sentence. We start with something really easy, like I'm hanging out in the park, 我在公园玩, something like that. And of course, we don't know about every character, so the sentence we wrote may be like this. But this was allowed in the first 2 or 3 years, I think. So this is a fun thing. So before the 3rd grade, the little essays we wrote will be mixed up with characters and pinyin. But after the 3rd grade, in exams, the pinyin will take some points out of your exam, because that will be showing you didn't have a really good command in the characters. After 3rd grade, most of us will write even we don't know, so we'll guess a character up there will be miswritten, takes points off. So that's just a dilemma. So back to writing. We learn most about the writing initially in primary school. Of course, that's what I think. Because when you are in high school, you're preparing all the exams. The articles you write is all about the formula, and to write something that you don't even understand what you're writing about. Just beautifully written but empty inside our essays, which I hate. I think that maybe that's why I didn't get quite a good grade in writing. So I myself, I use the same structure and the same examples in essays when I was in junior high. I wrote 3 years about the same story over and over again. A school told me all about the formulas to write, but I think that's not the answer, right? Actually, how formula it is. At that time when I was little, and even now I think it still happens, is we have these kind of books that collects all the high mark essays and put them together in a book and name this book like 4-mark essays or perfect essays for students. And honestly, I get 2 or 3 of them when I was in primary school, and they didn't help a lot. Now what I do is just memorizing them and then using them in exams. So that's not how writing really works, I think. If you want to write good in articles and essays, I think the best thing you can do is just read more books. That's what I do now. I read books. And one more good thing, I think, if you're learning from different countries, that is Mandarin doesn't have a strict grammar. I didn't know about grammar until the first time I started to learn about English. Mandarin doesn't have a really strict grammar system, I think. The first, it doesn't have the time difference. Unlike in English, was is for past, is for now, and will be is in the future, right? But in Mandarin, we don't do that. We just put the time in the sentence. That's really easy for a sentence. And the only 2 times we actually need to concern about the grammar in a Mandarin essay or sentence is when you are doing the exams. Yes, in the college entrance exam, it will be a specific question about the grammarly wrong and correct ones. So that's really bumming because we don't emphasize the grammar that much. Well, one thing I can remember when we are strictly using the grammar is the 3 the. They're used in different situations and they'll have the same pronunciation. It's hard to tell. Actually, many people don't even know how they're used. So to sum it up, for writing, you need first to learn your vocabulary. If you want to learn more about writing, you can start with little things and read more. And from little things to big things, you don't need to concern much about the grammar. I don't have a specific book to recommend you. You just find some topics that you enjoy or find some copies translated into Mandarin, and you can read it with your English copy or whatever language your native is. Now comes our final part, classical Chinese. So for this part, I think it's too hard for beginners. We native speakers too struggle with this classical Chinese learning, because besides its pronunciation and how to write them, it's basically a different language. We have so many words that doesn't mean the same meaning as for now. Like you in Chinese, in Mandarin is 你, and for classical Chinese it will be 耳, 耳, That's a lot of work to be done here, but we still learn them. They are part of our culture, and they contribute a lot in today's idioms and proverbs. So I'll just quickly introduce something. If you're interested, you can leave your comments below, or you can reach out to me. I can explain to you more about them. So when I'm in school, learning classical Chinese is really pain in the ass. We have to memorize them and write them by memory and to translate them into the Mandarin we use today. And some of them is really tricky to memorize. The very first classical Chinese we bump into is poems, especially poems that were written in Tang Dynasty. Well, the poems are relatively easy to memorize, but it became harder when essays came. They wrote really long and we don't even know what they mean at first, but we still have to memorize them. So you can know why I say this is a pain in the ass, because you got to learn them and they are in exams. They take a huge part of the points. But you know, sometimes I can feel that it's interesting that they wrote, but anything related to exams can be not so much fun. So if you want to learn more about this, you can contact me. My emails will be down below. You can contact me if you have some learning problems. For this part, I don't have much of advice for you. You have to just memorize them. And it's not so useful in our daily life. So that's all for today's video. If you like, please leave a thumbs up below. And if you have some problems or questions you want to ask me, feel free to leave your comments below or contact me on my email. I will read them all. And if you have something more you want me to cover, please leave a comment below. If you like my videos, please subscribe. And I'll see you soon.